Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something that pretty much every gardener has seen but maybe doesn't fully get: NPK fertilizer. Together, we're going to crack the code behind those numbers and get your garden looking absolutely amazing.
So, have you ever looked at one of your plants and just felt defeated? It's drooping, the leaves are turning yellow, and you're thinking, I'm doing everything right. I'm watering it. It's super frustrating, and trust me, we've all been there.
Well, the solution might actually be a lot simpler than you think. It really all comes down to nutrition. And yeah, the secret is probably hiding in plain sight, right inside a bag of fertilizer, written in a kind of code we're about to crack wide open.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to tackle the code on the bag. Then we'll meet the NPK nutrient trio. After that, we'll dive into the golden rules of fertilizing, figure out what happens when plants overeat, and even launch a rescue mission for a poisoned plant. And we'll wrap it all up so you can fertilize like a total pro. Ready? Let's dig in. Okay, first things first. Let's figure out that code. You see these numbers on a fertilizer bag, something like 20, 20, 15, and it can look a little intimidating, but it's actually a super simple key. Once you get it, you'll know exactly what you're giving your plants.
All these numbers mean is the percentage of the three most important nutrients for a plant, and they're always in the same order: nitrogen, then phosphorus, then potassium. So a 20-20-15 bag is just 20% nitrogen, 20% phosphorus, and 15% potassium. See? Simple.
You can think of NPK as the perfect, balanced meal that your plants are just craving to grow up big and strong. Seriously, these three are the foundation. They're like the protein, carbs, and vitamins of the plant world. So let's get to know each member of this little power trio.
First up is N, for nitrogen. The easiest way to remember this one, just think of nitrogen as the leaf maker. Its entire job is to push for growth in the stems and leaves, all the green stuff. It's what gives plants that gorgeous, lush, vibrant green color we all love.
Next, we've got P for phosphorus. So if nitrogen handles everything up top, phosphorus is the root and flower booster. It works underground, building a strong, healthy root system so the plant can suck up all those good nutrients. But it doesn't stop there. Phosphorus is also crucial for getting those beautiful flowers and fruits to show up. And the last piece of our puzzle is K for potassium. Think of potassium as the plant's personal guardian. It makes the whole plant tougher. The stems get sturdier, it can fight off pests and diseases better, and it can handle crazy weather. Plus, it improves the final product, It makes fruits taste sweeter and flowers look brighter for longer. Okay, so now we know what the nutrients do. But how you use them is just as important, if not more so. Let's get into the golden rules, the real do's and don'ts that'll make sure you're helping your garden, not accidentally hurting it. The foundation of good fertilizing is something gardeners call the 4 rights. First is the right type. You gotta match the fertilizer to where your plant is in its life cycle. Next is the right time. Always aim for the cool of the early morning or late afternoon. The right dose is absolutely critical. Read the package, and when in doubt, remember that less is always more. And finally, the right method. You want to apply it around the base of the plant, not right on top of the roots. And now for the other side of the coin, the 4 don'ts. These are the classic mistakes you really want to avoid. First, don't fertilize a plant that's already sick or struggling. It's like forcing someone who's ill to run a marathon. Also, don't fertilize when it's in full bloom. You could actually shock it and cause the flowers to drop. You also want to skip feeding during extreme weather, like a super hot, sunny day, or during a downpour. And last but not least, if you've just repotted a plant, give it some time to chill out and settle in before you feed it. Finally, we have the 3 taboos. These are the big no-nos, the things you just don't do. Number 1, never ever use a mix that's too concentrated. That's a one-way ticket to burning your plant's roots. Number 2, and this is so important, avoid direct contact between the fertilizer granules and the plant's roots. And number 3, just stay far away from fresh, uncomposted manure. It can be loaded with harmful stuff that can kill your plants. So what happens if things go wrong? If we get a little too enthusiastic with the fertilizer? How can you tell if your plant has been overfed? Let's look at the warning signs your plant will give you. So spotting an overdose kind of depends on if it's sudden or a long-term thing. An acute or sudden overdose happens fast. The plant will just wilt out of nowhere, the edges of the leaves will look brown and burnt, and you might even see this white, salty crust forming on top of the soil. A chronic problem from a long-term imbalance is a bit sneakier. You'll see weird things like new leaves coming in all twisted, strange yellow or purple spots showing up, or the plant's growth just stops.
Okay, you've seen the signs and you think you might have overdone it. First thing, don't panic. It's time to go into rescue mode. I'm going to walk you through the first aid steps to save your plant.
You've got to act fast, and here's the 4-step plan. First, and this is obvious but crucial, stop all fertilizing immediately. Next, you need to flush the soil. That means watering it really, really well, over and over again, to try and wash out all those excess salts. After that, prune. Snip off any leaves that are badly burned or any parts that look damaged. And finally, help it recover. Adding some good organic stuff like compost can help bring the soil back into a healthy balance.
Whew, we have covered a ton of ground, from decoding the bag to plant first aid. So now let's bring it all home with a quick summary of the key takeaways that'll have you fertilizing like an expert in no time. All right, here's your final checklist. Just remember, N is for leaves, P is for roots and flowers, and K is for overall health. Always, always follow the 4 rights to do it safely. And honestly, the most important thing is to just watch your plants. They'll show you what they need. And finally, for really healthy long-term soil, try to balance out these chemical fertilizers with organic matter. And that really brings us to a final thought. If you think about it, chemical fertilizer is kind of like fast food for plants. It gives them a quick, powerful boost, but it's not always a long-term solution. So that leaves us with a great question. What does a truly sustainable, healthy meal for your soil actually look like? Something to think about on your gardening journey. Thanks so much for watching.